Yeah, so that happened. I was trusting the internet with the correct torque specs. I was wrong. Rather, the internet was wrong. So, let's take care of this. Well, I had a little situation yesterday. I read one torque spec, I went with it, and this bolt snapped. I later found out my first reference was wrong. So now I gotta take care of this. So one option I have, to drill it and try to use an easy out. Another option I have is to try to put a nut on there, weld it. I don't really have room for that. First, I'm going to try something my dad taught me a long time ago. I watched him do this. Make sure I can get a good picture in here. I watched my dad do this on a crankshaft bolt that had snapped off years ago. I've never had much luck, but he's the one who's the master auto technician, so he obviously had experience. Dad, Pops, let's see if I can make you proud. That's not going to work that way. I have to back you up a little bit. Well, it's moving. I saw it here. Real time. Punching a hammer. Works. Torque down air intake. Silicone I use says to wait about an hour before you torque it down. I don't know how long it's been, but it's hot out here. It's been long enough. Alright. Start at 27 inch-pounds. Alright, next 106. We're going to end 132. Okay. Look, Ma, I didn't break any bolts this time. Next, torque down the upper. On your distributor is a 6 and an 8 on a Vortec engine. And we have a 6, so we line the rotor up. It's that number 6 right there. Right there. There's a 6. Now, luckily my clampy thing never moved off the distributor, so all I had to do was line up the rotor and everything kind of went into place. First thing I'm going to attack is putting this missing bolt in. What do you know? The internet was right about that bolt. Metric 10, 1.5 by 40 millimeters. Alright, so right now I got my thermostat put in, and I have a temp sensor right here right below the thermostat housing. That's the sensor that goes to the truck, that way my gauge will still read. I went ahead and I changed my spark plugs. The old ones didn't look too terrible. Put in a PCV valve. And the other thing I did was I changed the shifter linkage. I got this on the internet off the Jungle site. This should let me retain the shifter column. This is what was on here before, and it connected to a cable through a housing out here in the back through an adapter. I believe it's here in the back, but I believe since I'm still doing a 4-3 swap and not a small block or an LS, that the linkage should still clear and I should be able to retain the column shift. If not, I have already bought a column shift out of a newer Blazer. With the shifter and everything, but I'd rather keep everything stock looking. So if you haven't noticed, all the steps I'm taking to make this motor work in this truck, it's the same as you'd get in an LS swap, minus 2 cylinders. I'm sure there's a few other small differences, but mostly it's the same wiring you're going to need to change, and as far as I can tell, it's almost identical that way. So I just hope it helps someone out sometime. I know it's kind of odd going from a later model Vortec V6 in place of an older V6, but you know, not everybody wants to do an LS swap. Not everybody has the funds to do a big LS swap. This just kind of fell in my hands. I had bought that truck. It ended up having frame damage on it, so it wasn't going to work for me. I could have swapped frames with a different truck, but it just made sense to find something else to put it in. I like these old first gen S10 Blazers, so this works. Check it out, guys. We got our arms cut off. Got it smoothed down. Get it on both sides. So I'm grinding a little bit just to make those arms flush. And we are as close to that radiator as we can get. It's exactly what we want for our electric fans. This is out of 2000 Intrepid. It's a pretty common fan to use with a swap. People say they fit perfectly, and well, After a little trimming, I tend to agree. This is a beautiful fit. So got them in here. We just got to mount it to the radiator. So we'll work on that next. So you see we're getting progress on mounting our fan. I decided to use a piece of scrap license plate that I found. Gives a character. They'll hold it. So I just bent it up, cut it. It's going right there. So I got the other side done. One other thing I did is I put a really thin 1/4 inch piece of foam tape around the edges for the fan to sit on. That way it was not sitting right on the fins. Spaced it out a little bit in case there's any movement, it doesn't wear through. So the fan's sitting on foam. I'm attaching these, drilling them through the lip. This is kind of what I've seen as I've looked around. I didn't happen to have any nice aluminum angles, so I made it work. This will hold it. It's pretty tight in here by itself. So this will hold it. After I get all these screwed in down here, then I'm probably going to drill in and just put a popper in it. As long as I can pull the fan off of the radiator, that's the important thing. Alright, show you the process. I bought these clips off the jungle site. I just spread it apart a little bit. I've already drilled this hole. So what I like to do, drill the one hole, screw it in, that way I'll make my next hole, it's going to line up also. Okay, fans are mounted. I'm not worried about this little license plate holding the weight. I think it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments about how it won't be. But you show me your proof where you used it as a radiator fan bracket and it didn't hold, and I'll believe you. So, well, beautiful, guys. Real happy with the way this is turning out.